today's video is something new that I've never done on my channel before, and it is a tag video. I got tagged in a video, a flight attendant tag video. So I'm going to answer some questions about being a flight attendant. Now, I know that I don't do very many flight attendant videos on this channel, but because I am a flight attendant and I got tagged in this video, I am going to do it. I have the questions here on my phone. Yes, my phone is cracked. I got tagged by one of my flight attendant coworkers. His name is Steven. I've mentioned him on this channel before. I mentioned him in my lunchbox review video. He's the one that I said that he removed the little side clips. He cut those off. So I did mention him when I mentioned that. So he tagged me in this video, in this tag. So I'm going to go ahead and answer the questions. There's 6 questions and I have them all written down in my phone. So I'm going to read them from there. That way if you see me looking down, that's why. But if you're not already subscribed, go ahead and hit that red subscribe button down below and hit that notification bell when it appears. That'll let you guys know every time that I post a new video. So let's go ahead and get started. So the very first question is, where are you based? So as many of you know, I live in Las Vegas and I am based in Las Vegas. So my flight attendant base is Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm not going to say what airline I worked for, but I am based in Las Vegas. We have a few bases. We have Fort Lauderdale, which is our main base. We have Chicago, Atlantic City, which is our smallest base, but it is our most senior base. Detroit, Dallas. They just opened up an Orlando base. And we have Las Vegas. I'm hoping that they open up more bases on this side of the country, but one can only dream. All right, so then the second question is, what is your favorite layover city? That's a tough question because I am what is known as a slam clicker. So I basically will go to my room, slam the door shut, click the latch, and stay in my room the whole time. So if I had to choose one layover based on the hotel, I would choose Fort Lauderdale because every once in a while we get to stay at the Hyatt House, which is exactly as it sounds. It's like a little apartment. It's like a little house. You get a full-size kitchen with a full-size fridge, a stove, a dishwasher, sink, and then you have like the living room and then like a completely separate bedroom. And so every time I stay at that hotel, I kind of live it up and I make it seem like I'm living in like a little studio apartment. It's so nice. This last time I went to Fort Lauderdale though, when I stayed at Hyatt House, me and the other 2 girls that I was flying with, for whatever reason, we got 2-bedroom suites. So we all had 2 bedrooms, even though we only ended up using the 1 bedroom, we still got 2. So that was kind of fun. So I do like that hotel. I have gone out. I'm not saying that I have never gone out. I have gone out. I've gone out in Seattle. I've gone out in Fort Lauderdale. I have gone out in many places. The places that I've been to the most where I've gone out was Philadelphia, because we would go into the city and go and do some of the like tours that they have there. I've definitely done New York a couple of times where you would, because in Newark we could take the shuttle back to the hotel. We could take the shuttle back to the airport and then get on the train and take that into New York. So I've done that a few times. And I've gone out in Los Angeles, and I have some friends that live in Los Angeles, so I'm able to hang out with them when we have long enough layovers. But as far as like my favorite city, I don't really have a favorite city. If you would say a favorite city where I've gone out, I would have to say Seattle. And that's because right down the street from our hotel, literally within walking distance, is a Daiso. And you guys know a planner's dream is Daiso. So I like to go there. Even if I don't buy anything, I just like to go and look. Because it's so cute. And I just love looking at everything. They always have different things. So yeah, so those would be my favorite layover cities. What is your biggest flight attendant pet peeve? Now, I have wanted to do a full video on pet peeves, so I will still get to that eventually. So one of my biggest pet peeves as a flight attendant, I would have to say, is people that don't listen to announcements. We make announcements all the time about the seatbelt sign coming on, the seatbelt sign being off, if there's going to be turbulence, when we're coming through doing service. So my airline, everything on our airline is for purchase. This does include water, it includes coffee, tea, all of the snacks, everything is for purchase. We do not accept cash. We say that in every single announcement that we make once we get up into the air. We say that we do not accept cash. We are a cashless airline. We only accept debit and credit cards. No matter how many times we say that, people still pull out cash. So I don't understand why people just don't listen to the announcements. I feel like anytime I hear an announcement, I'm like, oh, what's going on? Like, I'm always trying to figure out what's going on. Like, maybe it's important. Maybe something's about to happen. Maybe something already happened and we need to know. So I don't understand. Like, okay, if you're sleeping, fine, whatever. But if you're literally sitting there staring at me when I'm sitting in my jump seat and you're sitting in that first row and you can see through the window and you're staring at me, and then I make my announcement and say, hey, we don't accept cash, and then all of a sudden I come up to you, say if you need anything, oh yeah, here's my $5 bill. We don't accept cash. I just said that. So to me, I don't understand why people don't listen to announcements, because we make very important announcements. It's not like we just come on to say, hey guys, what's up? Like, we're not saying that. We're literally saying we do not accept cash. We're experiencing turbulence. We need everyone to sit down. Don't go to the bathroom. The seatbelt sign is on. Like, we say these announcements for your safety and so that you can know what's going on. Because it's a lot easier to say, hey, everybody, we don't accept cash, than to tell every single person going down the aisle that we accept cash. So my biggest pet peeve is just people who don't listen to announcements. I have plenty more. I will definitely make a flight attendant pet peeve video. If you'd like to see that, give this video a thumbs up, and I will definitely film one of those. But that, I think, is one of my biggest pet peeves. The next question is, what is my favorite thing about being a flight attendant? My favorite thing about being a flight attendant is actually that every day is different. Because you work with different flight attendants every trip, even some days you work with a different group every day. You see all different passengers of all different ages, all different ethnicities, all different everything. And so because we have so many different things going on each day, every day is different. And I love that. When I worked as a receptionist, when I worked in retail, when I worked in a call center, every day, regardless, you work with the same people. You see the same people every day. Yes, you talk to different people on a regular basis, but it's the same people every day. It's the same routine every day. With being a flight attendant, you never know what's going to happen. Everything could be the same. Everything could be different. And so you never really experience the same day twice. It's always different. And I love different. You're in a different city. You're in a different plane. You're working with different people. You see different people. You have different pilots. Like, there's so many different things about working just a different schedule all the time too, because you work a 9-to-5 job. You're literally working from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. every day, except for your 2 days off. As a flight attendant, you could work one trip where one day you start at 9 a.m., the next day you don't have to be at the airport until 8 p.m., and then the next day you don't have to be at the airport until 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. Like, it's every day is different, every day changes. You'll have different days off, because you could have 3 days off this week, 2 days off next week, and then the whole week off the week after that. So it really varies on what you work. So that's probably my favorite thing about being a flight attendant, is just every day is different. What made you decide to become a flight attendant? I'm not sure if I've told you guys yet or not, but my dad is actually a juggler. He's a comedy juggler. He used to be a clown in Ringling Brothers, and so his job is he travels the world and he juggles, whether it be in a show or on a cruise ship, which he's on right now. So when I was younger, I used to travel a lot with him. I will leave a link in the description box below that is a link to my blog. And on that link is going to be a list of all the places that I've been to, whether it was for work or when I traveled with him. So be sure to check out that link. You can see all the fun places that I've been to. So when I was traveling, we would obviously fly on airplanes. And so while I was on the airplanes, I would either sit and look out the window because I love the window seat. So I would always sit in the window seat and I would look out the window. I would like see the view. I would watch what we were doing. And then I would also watch the flight attendants. I would see what they were doing. And then I'd just sit there and be like, oh my God, they're so awesome. Like, so I would always watch them. But I always saw super thin women, super tall, really pretty, like always had their hair and makeup done. And when I was little, I just didn't think that I could do that. I wouldn't be the right height. I didn't think I would have the right, like I would weigh the right amount or whatever. And so as I got older, I still had that mentality like, oh, I'm not going to get it because I'm not that tall. Oh, I'm not going to get it because I'm not that pretty. Oh, I'm not going to get it because of this, because of that. Like things that everybody goes through, you know. So it just was in the back of my mind. Like I never really thought about becoming a flight attendant. So as I got older, I just did other things because I didn't know what I really wanted to do. I dropped out of college because I didn't know what I really wanted to do or be. And so that's just where my life took me, is just working in a call center, working at simple things that I knew how to do. And then one of my friends started dating this guy who happened to be a flight attendant. And I was just like, oh, and like it started to come back and it just started to like my mind just started moving again. And I was like, oh, I'm going to ask him like how to become a flight attendant. But wouldn't you know that the day that I wanted to go ask him about it, I find out that he no longer was a flight attendant. And I was like, oh my God, like to me, that just was like a sign like, oh my God, I can't do this. Like, I'm never going to be a flight attendant. Like, I can't even talk to somebody about being one because they go and they get like, they leave, they quit, you know? That was just me thinking that I would never become a flight attendant. So anyways, fast forward a little bit, he starts trying to work like other jobs around the city and whatnot. And then I was talking to my friend, and he was telling me that his boyfriend was applying for another airline, and I was like, oh, cool. And he's like, yeah, and he's like, you should talk to him. Sorry, there was a fuzz. He's like, you should talk to him. He's like, I think they're still hiring. And I was like, oh, and like, I'm thinking that I'm going to have to like move to some random city that I've never been to before. I was just like, oh, okay, well, thanks. And then he's like, yeah, they're hiring for Vegas. And I'm like, wait, they're hiring for Las Vegas? I don't have to leave? Like, so that kind of caught me off guard. And so when I finally had a chance to talk to him, he's like, yeah, and he gave me the link, and so I like actually put him down as my reference, even though he hadn't started yet. And so I did the application. I did like a personality test. I did that, and then I'd like sent it in, and then I hadn't heard anything. I was like, oh, okay, whatever. It was like they didn't like my application, they didn't like this, they didn't like that. So I'm sitting there like now I'm pissed off because I just filled out this entire thing and now nothing's happening. But then he was telling me that it can take a while. So then about 3 months later, after I had applied, I received an email, and they're like, hey, we'd like to invite you to our interview. It's going to be in Dallas. You know, it's like, and I think they were hiring for Dallas, and that's why they said that the interview was going to be in Dallas. Like, I emailed them back, and I was like, well, I was kind of hoping that I could maybe do Vegas because I live in Vegas and it would be a lot easier for me. And they sent me one back, and they're like, oh yeah, they're like, Vegas is our next one. Just ignore this one and then we'll send you that one. I was like, oh, okay, cool. So then like a couple weeks later, they sent me one for Las Vegas, and it was for June. It was back in June of 2015. And so I went to the interview, still had all these thoughts in my head because I walked in, and because it was a big group interview. So I walk in and I see all these like gorgeous, like super thin, like like people. And I'm like, oh, they're never going to pick me. But then so the way that it worked was we started off in this big room with everybody, and then like they kind of had like a PowerPoint presentation, and then we left and we went and did a bunch of group stuff. So over the course of like the day, yeah, it was a full day, you guys. I was there the entire day. I think it started at like 7 or 8 a.m. And I didn't even leave until like 8 or 9 p.m. Like I was there the whole day. So anyways, so throughout the course of the day, every once in a while, you'll see people like they'll say names and then those people get up and leave and then they would never come back. So learning how the process worked, those are people that they didn't want to keep. And so those people were then sent home. And then the people that stayed, they're like, oh, we want to move them on to the next thing. So the entire time I'm sitting there like nervous that they're going to send me out, and I ended up making it all the way through. They told me that they wanted to hire me, and then I filled out my paperwork and did my drug test that same day, which is why I was there for so long. So started the entire process that day, and then a month later I went to training. And here I am today. I guess just traveling so much with my dad like gave me the enjoyment of being in an airplane and wanting to do that for a living. And the last question is, what is the best advice you can give a new flight attendant? So my advice is going to be mainly for those who are going to training. So during training, there's going to be a lot of people who are going to want to party or who are going to want to stay up late. They're not going to really want to study as much. I personally would suggest to stay away from those people. Even though the ones from my class, they still passed, but for me, I enjoyed the people where we just literally just sat and studied, or we had a good time just trying to practice the drills with each other, trying to go over things and I'm not saying that you should just be study. Like we still went out and we did things on our days off, but we also made sure that we knew what we were getting ourselves into. We knew what we were studying, because there were some people who like when they were studying, they were just really loud. Like where our hotel was, here was our hotel, and then there was another hotel like right next door where both hotels were being used for the people who were going to training. Our hotel, we didn't have breakfast, we didn't have very much stuff, so they let us go over to the other hotel and get like the breakfast and stuff in the morning. They had like a giant area where you could sit. So like the first day we went in there because we were like, oh, there's tables, we could study at the tables. But then we're sitting at our table trying to study, and then people at the next table, they're just giggling and laughing and having the time of their life, really loud, where we couldn't study. We couldn't do what we were supposed to be doing. So what we did was we went in our hotel downstairs by the front desk. There's a gym. Not a very big gym. There's also a little laundry room in there as well. But we went into that gym and we just sit in there and we would study together. We would come up with little things that helped with like remembering the emergency equipment and where it was located. We would come up with things to help us with our drills. We would practice the drills in the staircase, because for us, it was easier for us to have like a place that was quiet for us to practice or for us to study, as compared to some place where there was a lot of people and a lot of activity going on and people were laughing and talking at the top of their lungs. And like, because everyone has different styles of studying. I'm not saying that the way you study has to be that way, or the way I study has to be that way. No, I'm just saying this is what helped me study. So if you're the type of person that you prefer like quiet, or you prefer like being in smaller groups, definitely go for those people as compared to the people who are loud and who want to party. Because to me, it definitely helped me to have that small social knit of people that I could blend with, and we all studied together. So if you've never been to initial training before, if you've never worked for an airline, like I've never worked for an airline before this, so for me, it was just easier to find that group of people that I could mesh well with and that I could study with and do what I needed to do to pass, and not let anybody else influence me to do anything I didn't want to do. If you need that space and that distance, give that to yourself, because you will thank yourself later for not being around those people that didn't study, or those people who would just go out and party, because you don't want to fail your test. You don't want to get kicked out of training because of what other people were doing, or because of what other people were influencing you to do. So once you pass through training and you actually start working on the airplane, everything is a lot better. Everything's a lot easier. You just have to worry about every year for recurrent, you have to study, but it's a lot easier. When you go through recurrent, you're just doing refresher stuff as compared to initial training when you're learning everything. You don't know anything. So that would be my advice. And those are the questions that I got tagged to answer. So now it is time for me to say who I am tagging. I am actually going to tag 2 people in this video. Is that even legal? I don't know how tag videos work, but I'm tagging 2 people. I'm going to tag my friend Katie, who is a flight attendant vlogger here in Las Vegas, and I'm going to tag Hunter, who is a flight attendant vlogger from Detroit. Both of them work for my airline, but I want to see how they answer these questions as well. So I'm going to go ahead and link them both down in the description box below. That way you guys can check out their channels and find their videos once they've made them. But yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and send them these questions, and hopefully they'll get these videos up soon because I want to know their answers. I hope you guys enjoyed my tag video. Yeah, so I'm going to head out, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye!